started well, you know, and that's always helpful to play more freely. And yeah, I mean, I think I could have served better at times, but other than that, you know, I feel already in practice I felt I was moving well. Didn't feel so good hitting the ball yet, quite getting used to the surface, and now the last few days have been much better. I'm happy in the match. It kind of all worked really well for a start of a tournament. It's never clear if that's going to be the case, so I'm very, very relieved and just really pleased. Of course, it all comes from there, and I actually did it almost more extreme when I was younger, I guess because I did have more time. Now I can't keep looking at like where it was, you know, because otherwise the next ball's on the other side. So I don't know, it's just a total habit. I don't remember my coaches telling me this. It's just kind of like how I did it, and they never really told me not to do it, because I guess it is good for the movement, but I don't see many other guys really actually doing it, so I'm actually quite surprised.
Were you coached like that, or
no? That's your
innovation.
That's how I did it, you know. I don't know if it's good or not, but clearly it worked, you know, so which is nice. Actually today, you know, normally when you know you're going to go into a tough match with the crowd, possibly being for your opponent or maybe even against you, which is just not very frequent, you know, to be honest. In tennis, it's pretty, people are nice, you know, or they're just going to support the other guy. And it only just struck me today, 1 minute before I walked out when I saw the Canadian flag and Peter was there, and I was like, oh yeah, I mean, this is like not just a first round, this is against, you know, a Canadian, but I wasn't worried, you know, in any way that it was going to get ugly or too much behind him, but clearly if the scoreline gets tight, you know, they'll make you feel it that they want Peter to either win a set or maybe even win the whole match, and that can definitely get you nervous and make him play better. So I've been around the block and I know how to handle it, so thankfully today's no problem, but of course I appreciate the crowd support. It's one of the great things to experience as an athlete, is to feel like you're well liked or admired sometimes. It just makes you feel more comfortable, and it probably motivates as well to play really good tennis and to run for every ball rather than sometimes not play. So it worked both ways a little bit, you know. I remember, but then at the end of the day, was that lucky shot or lucky net court or lucky line call or mistake by the umpire really going to make the difference in the match, or did it just create something that you couldn't come back from? You don't know always. So I do believe that in tennis, the more opportunities you create, and then more often than not, usually the better guy does come through. Plus, we're not playing sort of matches anymore. We're just like one shot, one return, one serve decides the outcome. That really used to be more on the faster surfaces, where we used to have that back in the day. So things are more in control today. But I remember one match, for instance, the finals in Miami against Ljubicic. I won 7-6, 7-6, 7-6, and in the tiebreaker in the third, I think like an 8-7 for me. He served a big serve wide, and I chipped it back, and it just went on net court and went over, and it was game, set, and match, you know. Who knows if I don't make it, I'm going to lose in 5? I don't know, but those are definitely moments where you feel like you got very lucky. I still say that we're very good, you know, but clearly it would definitely create a situation for them that is, you know, one you need to get used to. I don't think it's been such a huge adjustment like the girls have been for me. That was, I think, having kids for the first time, I think is always going to be the first huge impact. The second time around, I feel like we're so much better, not prepared, but like you just know what you're getting into, you know what you need to do. I don't know, this time around it seems much easier. Now, I know that in a year's time when they're going to start running around, it's going to be crazy, but as of now, it's manageable, I must say. You know, and I was very involved from day one. It was something I really wanted to do since a long time, I must say, to change the racket to a bigger head size, bigger frame, different main job as well. So it's something that I've been thinking about for 5 years maybe, but because I was always making quarters or better at slams, you know, consecutively, it was just hard to make the switch sometimes, and then once I really wanted to make the switch, Mai and Charlene were born, so that then didn't allow me to really do it. So last year I really felt like this is the moment, it's now or never, and I pulled through with it. So I'm very happy that the racket is working so well, and then now finally it's out there for the public to buy it too. And the goal clearly was to make it exactly the one that I'm playing with. You can buy it in the shop, and I think it's exciting for the to be quite honest. I don't want to say I was one of the first to start it, but like I needed it to calm down, you know, like to not throw the racket or not yell. I was like, okay, go back to the towel and relax, you know, like that was for me a thing I consciously tried to do back at the end of the 90s. That was for me that's why I did it. Then I kind of kept that up, and I guess many other players started to do it too, and I don't think necessarily it's about, you know, winning time all the time, but it's just it gives you those, I guess you have the moment right after the point where you like, you know, like still in the whole thing of the point being over for a few seconds, then you always have the seconds that lead up to where you focus for the next point, and you have that in between. That in between, you know, when you have a towel or something with you, I guess it's maybe for some players a security blanket is like comforting, you know, but it really is maybe calming for some guys, you know. Then of course, has it gone over the top? Sometimes absolutely, and if they do it, it just needs to be done in a timely manner. So from that standpoint, I don't have a problem for guys doing it, but you don't want to do it always on crucial points or to always go over the time limit. But is it being abused? That one, I'm not so sure, but I think that was actually not too big of a